those biases do come into play. And I always tell people that's why it's very important to pick your attorney properly. You want to get somebody that looks like you, that represents what you represent, that understands this may come into play.
Willie D. Live.
So,
why is it easier to get a favorable judgment on the civil side against a police officer as opposed to the criminal side?
So it's the standard that you're held to. So on the criminal side, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. Right. And so essentially what that means is, and the reason I know that, again, I don't know if we talked about it, but I was a prosecutor for nearly 5 years. So when you go into court, when I used to go into court and argue for potential for cases where I believed the individual was guilty, and there were many cases I didn't take because I did not think the people were guilty. But in the cases where I believed the people were guilty and the evidence pointed towards that, we had to prove to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt. So that means beyond one reasonable doubt in their mind that the evidence essentially just points directly at there is really nobody else that could have committed this crime but this person. And so the standard of care on the civil side is much lower than on the criminal side. So that's why it's an easier obstacle. And I don't even want to say easy. It's still not easy because a lot of stereotypes come into play. A lot of people think that, oh, well, this is the civil side. It's much easier. And then the criminal side so different. No, the jury has those same stereotypes. And oftentimes the stereotypes are, oh, look at this Black Hispanic person, or look at this woman, or look at this man coming in here, and all they want is money. And so it's our job to say, hey, back to what we talked about. There's two ways that you can get justice. You can seek justice on the civil side, and the way to do is by sending a message, hitting someone in their pockets, or on the criminal side, which is what we don't control, right? That's the prosecutor's office, and that's sending someone to prison. So
yeah, see, I don't even respect when people say, well, what all they want is money, all they want. Yeah. I don't respect that at all because I know for a fact if they were in the same position, they would go for the money, right?
Absolutely.
I know that for a fact. You only really hear people saying stuff about they just want money when it is not a white person. That white woman that sued McDonald's for her hot coffee because the coffee burned her lip. Burned her tongue.
Her leg. It was her leg. It spilled on her leg.
Yeah, but she got millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, this is common sense. Look, I drink tea almost daily. Sometimes the damn tea is way too hot. Sometimes I have to let the tea sit literally 5-10 minutes before I can drink it. Right.
Well, let me say this to your point. So for everybody out there listening, you hit on the perfect topic, and I can never explain enough how many biases exist on the civil side just as it exists on the criminal side. The only difference is a lot of times it's held against the plaintiff, which is strange, right? You think, hey, someone comes in, they say, I've been injured. Let me show you. I've been wronged, and now I'm the one that's in the hot seat as if I'm the defendant. And oftentimes you see that with our Black people that are plaintiffs, with Hispanic people that are plaintiffs, even white people if they're lower income or don't look a certain way or have a certain amount of money. Those biases do come into play. And I always tell people that's why it's very important to pick your attorney properly. You want to get somebody that looks like you, that represents what you represent, that understands this may come into play, that is more than likely going to come into play when you have to pick out of a jury of 100 people that 80% are typically white, right? And you go in front of them and you have to explain, I'm nervous to go to trial on this case because I believe my client's not going to get a fair shake. I feel like you're going to look at them and you're going to judge them based off of what you see on TV.